Howdy, y'all. Today we'll be reviewing Game of Thrones. So I'm sure you've all heard about GOT or Game of Thrones as it's known as by us geekwards. If you haven't, really, well, it's a TV show on HBO. So you know that involves sex, violence, great acting, etc., etc. And it's a fantasy medieval epic series, kind of like Lord of the Rings, but it's a TV show, so we get to see plenty of time. It's based on a series of books written by George R. R. Martin. Uh, he's this writer who's written a lot of stuff. His books are really great, so check him out. All right, now back to GOT. So as I said, it's a fantasy show that's is it's a bit complicated to explain, so I'll try and make it easy for you, or I'll try. It's about schemes within schemes, plans, treachery, kind of like today's politics, really, with this guy and that guy, Democrats, Republicans, etc., etc. You know, all those wannabe guys. All right, so that's the basic idea of this. So it's really about a medieval world that's kind of like our one, with dukes, lords, kings, etc., etc. So the TV show is set in a place that's called Westeros, and it's supposed to be a unified kingdom with one king ruling over it. But in reality, it's not. You got like kind of like a weak king, and each territory kind of like it's called like the North, the South, etc., etc. It's ruled by these different families who have ruled these places for centuries. That's what it's about, and these families feud, clash, and stuff like that. So that's basically the basic premise of the show. It's really cool, it's really interesting, and that's it basically. Alright. Now, everyone, I've just had some noodles for dinner, so my voice may not be the best that can be. Alright, so back to the thing. So now the plot of the TV show is really long and it's pretty complicated. It's like all the time you get new places, new characters. You even get like plots you never heard of, stuff like that, basically. And you'll have to watch it over, and you'll have to watch it to understand what I mean with it being complicated. But I'm gonna give you guys a basic idea to get you hooked on the TV show. So GOT for us geekwads as it is set in a medieval world that's kind of like middle aged England, you know, with lords, plots, and stuff like that. But it involves fantasy elements like dragons, magic, kingdoms, epic battles. There are epic battles, but a bit later, you know. I mean, epic Lord of the Rings stuff like that. Now, in the TV show, we start off with season one. Overall, it's there right now 3 seasons, and there's one more that's going to be released in this week. That's why I did this reviews to hook you guys on it. All right, so now in season one, everything is like being quiet. You got the kingdom to the north, you got the kingdom to the south, and you got the capital kingdom with King's Landing as the capital city. Now the plot is kind of like it begins in the forests of the north. It's kind of like in the north is really like Scandinavia. It's pretty cold. Not a lot of people live there and stuff like that. So we see a group of people. They're called rangers. Basically, their job is to secure the north and make sure no wildlings get through. So one of these rangers groups is attacked and everyone is killed. Well, except for one or two guys. Some time passes. We go to another place, and a guy with a group of people is executing the guy who escaped because they think he's a deserter, and so those guys in the forest were attacked by a walker. Basically, they're ice zombies. I know these days it's all about zombies. Weird. It was all about vampires. Oh, now it's all about zombies. All right. So moving on. So then that guy Eddard Stark, he's basically the Lord of the North. He gets news that the king is coming to the country, to his palace, because he wants to appoint him as a new hand hand of the king, which is basically kind of like the vizier, or the what you may call it, the vizier or the prime minister or whatever, basically. So, but Eddard is a bit reluctant, but then the king comes and he's not, got no choice. Like he has to become, because the previous hand was killed. I mean, yeah. plot spoiler there. Sorry, guys. All right, moving on. So that's basically like just the first episode, and that's what happens in it now. Basically, it's also like you also get introduced to Daenerys Targaryen. She's basically, her family was exiled after they lost the war. She's basically the last of her line, and yeah, that's basically the first season. The first season really establishes the plot, sets up the characters, tells you who's who, and stuff like that. Now the second season, it's still a lot more stuff happening, a lot of really cool stuff. You got a few epic battles here and there, and stuff like that. So for the third season, it continues. You get a civil war between the kingdoms and stuff like that. You also get a really cool episode at the end that will literally shock you if you haven't heard about it. Alright, so that's the basic plot of the show. Hopefully you guys got the idea. It's basically like about kingdoms, epic stuff, magic, dragons, etc., etc. It's really set in a really great world, so check it out. That's the plot part of it. Alright everyone, let's name us a few characters. Let's start. Who should I pick? There are many characters in Game of Thrones. Literally speaking, there are many of them. So I'm just gonna pick a few of my favorites. They're out of no particular order. Alright, so my first favorite guy has to be King Joffrey. And a few weeks ago I was talking with a friend of mine who said, hey, if you like Joffrey, I will kick the crap out of you. So no. I think King Joffrey is really a total dick. He's an a-hole. The whole 9 yards. He's really the last person you want to meet. He's like sadistic, cruel, the whole 9 yards, as I said. He's also kind of tragic because you do feel sorry for the guy. I mean, he's a dick. Alright, let's go to another person, Tyrion Lannister. Tyrion or Tywin Lannister, I always mix up those two. Alright, so Tyrion Lannister is my favorite guy in the TV show. He's this dwarf. So basically, it's kind of like he's the one who's picked on because he's, well, small, and they don't really like small people. Creepy world, lots of racists. Alright, so basically, Tyrion is my favorite because he's a smart guy. He really is a smart guy. He thinks with his brain, he's intelligent, he's smart, and he's a tall badass, seriously. Don't mess with him. Alright, my third favorite guy has to be Eddard Stark. Alright, out of all the characters in the TV show, Eddard Stark is really the guy that I can definitely say he's a good guy. But good guys don't make it, unfortunately. Alright, moving on to Hodor. Hodor, he's a really interesting guy because I like him. He's this big guy. He helps around with the fraud. He's also a bit funny. Let's talk about two families, the Freys and the Boltons. Those guys are total a-holes, traitors, backstabbers, you name it, they're it. And you wouldn't want to be associated with them. So my final thoughts is that you guys should really check out Game of Thrones. It's an awesome TV show with great acting, great characters, great plot, the whole 9 yards basically. It's really cool and you'll get hooked on it. Well, if it's kind of your TV show, you will get hooked on it. So check it out, and I hope you enjoyed my review. Join me next week where I'll review another TV show. Thanks for tuning in, and goodbye.